Welcome back to The Explainer. Today, we're diving into a fascinating and literally make-or-break piece of solar engineering. Look, we're going to save you from what is easily the single most expensive mistake a beginner can make when setting up a solar power system. If you've got your eye on a 5,000-watt hybrid inverter and you're wondering exactly how to size your solar array to make it work flawlessly, without literally burning your equipment to a crisp, you are in exactly the right place. We're going to break down the actual math, the hidden dangers, and the professional techniques you need to know.
Okay, let's run through our roadmap real quick. First, the beginner sizing trap. Second, the overvoltage danger. Third, series versus parallel wiring. Fourth, the battery charging factor. And finally, the professional array sizing steps.
Section 1. The beginner sizing trap. Simple math. Big mistakes.
So, there's this huge misconception out there in the DIY solar community that matching panels to an inverter is just quick arithmetic. It's this idea that more panels automatically equals safe, usable power. And honestly, it's a trap that has destroyed countless solar installations before they even generate their first watt of power. Let's put your assumptions to the test right now. How many 550-watt solar panels do you need to power a 5,000-watt inverter? Go ahead, do the quick mental math. What number pops into your head?
Did you say 9? Well, if you thought of the number 9, you're acting exactly like almost every beginner out there. I mean, it makes sense, right? 5,000 divided by 550 is roughly 9 panels. You might be thinking, great, I'll just buy 9 panels, wire them up, and my 5,000-watt system is done. But assuming the job is finished there is a massive, massive trap. Sizing a solar array is not just about matching the total wattage. If you just plug 9 panels into your inverter without checking the underlying electrical specs, you might permanently fry your entire system and let out the dreaded magic smoke, literally the exact moment the sun comes up.
Here is the absolute golden rule of solar sizing you really need to internalize. Extra panel wattage can be acceptable, but excess voltage is destructive. A lot of beginners think that having an array with a higher wattage than their inverter is super dangerous. In reality, a hybrid inverter's MPPT, that's the maximum power point tracking controller, can easily limit excess current if you have too much wattage. It just clips the extra power. No big deal. But it absolutely cannot survive excessive voltage. If you force too much voltage into that MPPT, the internal electronics will permanently fail. Period.
Section 2. The overvoltage danger. The most expensive mistake.
To keep your equipment alive, we need to completely shift our focus away from watts and start paying very, very close attention to volts. Flip over any solar panel and you'll find a specification sticker. There are 2 crucial definitions on it that you need to know. First is VMP, or operating voltage. This is simply the voltage a solar panel produces at its maximum power point. When the sun is shining brightly and your system is humming along normally, this is the voltage your panel operates at. Your inverter's MPPT actually requires a certain minimum VMP to even wake up and start tracking efficiently, so that's your baseline requirement.
But here's the heavy hitter. VOC, or open circuit voltage. This is the maximum voltage a panel produces under standard conditions when it's perfectly sunny, but no power is actively being drawn by the inverter. It is the absolute highest voltage that panel can physically push out. So the crucial takeaway here is this. The combined VOC of your panel string is the absolute most critical safety check you must perform. If your combined VOC is even 1 single volt higher than your inverter's maximum input rating, your inverter is toast.
Now, what's really wild is how the environment secretly changes the rules on you. Solar panels are highly sensitive to temperature. As the temperature drops, the voltage rises. It's just physics. Imagine a panel with a VOC of 50 volts. On a warm day, a string of 10 panels connected together gives you 500 volts. If your inverter has a 500-volt limit, you'd probably think you're perfectly safe. But then, a cold morning hits. When a cold snap rolls in, that exact same panel's VOC might spike to 55 volts. Suddenly, your 10-panel string is pushing 550 volts. When the morning sun hits those freezing panels, that invisible 50-volt spike will instantly destroy an inverter that seemed perfectly safe just the day before. Crazy, right?
Voltage spikes are terrifying for sure, but they definitely aren't the only hazard. We've got a whole list of primary design risks here. We just covered exceeding maximum PV voltage, but you also risk undersizing your array, which just leads to dead batteries. Then there's incorrect string configuration, dropping you right out of your MPPT's operating range. You've got the total efficiency killer of mixing different panel specs together. And of course, the physical danger, working on live DC circuits. Always remember, solar panels produce high-voltage DC electricity whenever they are illuminated. You have to use proper isolation and disconnects, because DC electrical arcs are incredibly dangerous and stubbornly hard to extinguish.
Section 3. Series versus parallel wiring, controlling voltage and current.
So how do we actually solve this voltage puzzle? Well, the way you physically wire your panels completely changes the math. With series wiring, that's connecting the positive lead of one panel to the negative lead of the next, the voltage adds up, but the current remains exactly the same. This is typically how you reach your inverter's minimum MPPT startup voltage. But if adding more panels in series pushes your voltage dangerously close to that cold weather VOC limit we just talked about, you've got to switch tactics. You use parallel wiring. By connecting positive to positive and negative to negative, the current increases, but the voltage stays exactly the same. Professionals will actually mix both, creating separate series strings and then wiring them in parallel to hit massive power goals while staying safely, strictly within the inverter's voltage limits.
Section 4. The battery charging factor. Power beyond the inverter.
Now that we've safely managed the incoming power, we need to look at where that power is actually going. This breakdown right here perfectly nails a reality that most beginners completely overlook. A hybrid inverter system has a bunch of jobs it has to do simultaneously. During the day, your solar array isn't just powering the immediate household loads like your fridge and your TV. Oh no. It also has to generate enough surplus energy to fully recharge your heavy battery bank for the upcoming evening, all while overcoming standard inverter conversion losses. If you only size your panels to meet your 5,000-watt inverter rating, you're going to be drastically undersized. Your house will run fine during the day, but your batteries will just sit empty, leaving you in the dark at night. This is exactly why professionals intentionally design arrays with moderate oversizing, to guarantee enough sheer volume to run the house and fill up those batteries during peak sun hours.
Section 5. Professional Array Sizing Steps. Building a Safe System.
All right, we've identified the traps, we've managed the dangerous voltages, and we understand our real-world power needs. So, let's lay out the actual professional checklist to build a fundamentally safe system. Step 1. Determine your actual daily energy consumption in kilowatt hours. Step 2. Select your desired solar array power to meet that consumption, definitely including battery charging. Step 3. Calculate your panel quantity, which, as you now know, is really just the beginning. And Step 4. Verify your MPPT operating voltage to make sure your series string is actually long enough to wake up the inverter. Notice how finding the number of panels is only Step 3? Amateurs stop at Step 3. We keep going.
Let's finish out this safety profile. Step 5 is the big one. Verify maximum PV voltage, ensuring your open circuit voltage is completely safe even on the absolute coldest day of the year. Step 6. Map out your exact series and parallel configuration to balance the volts and amps perfectly. Step 7. Do a final check to confirm your array generates enough excess power to meet your battery charging requirements. And finally, Step 8. Verify roof space and shading. Because honestly, even if your electrical math is absolutely flawless, heavy shading on a poorly oriented roof will just ruin your system's output. Real-world physics always wins.
I really want you to burn this mantra into your brain. Never assume, always verify. Seriously, never just plug a random number of panels into a wildly expensive hybrid inverter just because the simple wattage math looked good in your head. Always verify your specific panel spec sheet against your specific inverter's operating ranges. Your diligence right here is exactly what separates a reliable 20-year power plant from a catastrophic electrical failure.
So, let me leave you with this final critical thought. Whether you're currently planning a system or if you actually already have one running, have you calculated the cold weather open circuit voltage for your specific system yet? If you haven't, it is officially time to grab your spec sheets, double-check your math, and guarantee that your installation is truly safe and optimal. Keep learning, keep verifying, and thank you so much for joining me on this explainer. Stay safe out there.